Hi everyone, I am Priya Sachdev. I'm a sales director with the Miller Hyman Group based out of Mumbai and part of the APAC team. It's my pleasure to join you today in this online conference, and I'm excited to bring to you some of the data from our research. Just to kind of introduce ourselves as the Miller Hyman Group, we are a sales performance management firm and we engage with our customers across four broad practices of training, consulting, technology, and research. Today, I'm going to be using the talent study we've recently conducted by CSO Insights, which is a brand under our umbrella, and talk to you about data coming from the talent study. What I'm hoping to be able to leave you with is to help you set your priorities for 2019 when you think about your talent strategy. Why talent strategy? Because we reached out to sales leaders and we asked them this question around saying that what are some of the things that you were not worried about 12 months ago but are a priority for you today? And talent was one of the top four. So I think it's important for us to think about that and look at that. And being a sales leader myself, I can tell you the biggest challenge I faced, in spite of the fact that I live in a population of 1.2 billion people, is to find the right talent to work with. So think about your talent strategy. And as we talk through over the next couple of minutes, keep that at the back of your mind, okay? And just a call out there, I'm not talking about talent practices, okay? I'm talking talent strategy. So stay with me, but think about your talent strategy. Also, for you to know that I have some notes here with me, just so that I'm telling you the right data points and I don't fumble on the numbers. Also, if any of you would be interested in getting more details around the talent study, please do reach out to me and I will get a copy across to you. So let's talk about talent and the importance of talent in our future of sales or future of organizations, if I can call it that. Through our talent study research, the respondents tell us that only 16% of them feel confident that they have the talent for the future, right? Now, which is then meaning that 84% of us are not confident about it. What difference does it make? Well, the people who felt confident about their sales talent actually have better outcomes and results as well. So if I were to talk about percentage of salespeople who meet their quota, certainly they do better where organizations feel confident of their sales talent. And the number is very, very different. It's like 63% versus a 41.2%. So if you have your sales guys with more than $1 million quota, you know that's a big difference in numbers that we're talking about, right? Also higher win rates, a difference of 53% versus a 42.1%. Again, something to think about. So if you've not already started thinking about your talent strategy as a priority for 2019, this data should get you thinking about that one, right? Now, what's happening there that's making talent important? So one thing we are all talking about, and I can tell you in every meeting I've had in the past 1 year with a customer or a prospect, this has come up in fact, our first meeting. The word is sales transformation, right? We all want to transform, right? Great. What's keeping us away from that? Well, a whole lot of stuff around enabling behavior, bringing in systems and processes. But another one which is important is your talent. So think about this. Current attrition sits at about 16%. 64% organizations said they want to grow their sales team by another 9%. So if I'm taking an average and playing with those numbers, approximately 25% of your sales team by the end of the year is a new addition to the team, right? Now, this 25% is either a red flag or an opportunity depending on what's your talent strategy. Now, why do I say red flag? What's bothering us there? So think about some data points that I'm going to share with you again. The first one is, how do we measure sales performance? And in our research, 64% organizations told us that they only measure sales performance through lagging indicators. What I mean by lagging indicators are really outcome data. It's revenue, it's win ratios, it's conversion ratios. And the reason we call it a lagging indicator is that you can measure this only after it's done. It's a historical data. I know what I did this quarter at the end of the quarter, right? And really can't do much about it then because it's historical. And 62% organizations are only measuring sales performance on that. And if you're in that 62%, my request for you is, can we look at some leading indicators as well? And leading indicators will give you a better sense of which way this performance is headed. Otherwise, if you have long sales cycles like I have, by the time you find a non-performer, it's already a year gone by, right? Another data point to think about. 20% of the top sellers on an average bring in about 54% of the revenue. Okay, now that's good. We always have that Pareto's principle work. But the worry is not that the top sellers bring in the revenue. The worry is 62% organizations do not assess what makes the top seller a top seller. Which means that one, I am absolutely dependent on my top sellers doing my numbers. And second is, for a plan for the future, I have no way in inculcating those behaviors of my top sellers into the rest of the sales team, because I don't even know what that is. They could be plain lucky, and I'd be really scared about thinking about that one, right? Also think about, we spoke about 16% attrition. On an average, it takes about 4 months for you to fill a vacant position. And I'm just taking average. It could take more, it could take less. My experience has been it always takes more than 4 months. And once you fill the position, it takes about 9 months for the new hire to get to productivity, which is really on an average about 13 months from the time you lose one sales role to fill that back in to get to any kind of productivity, right? Now that's a long investment you're making, and I'm sure it's impacting your cost of acquisition as well, right? And that's where, what's your talent strategy? And the reason I keep asking you that question again and again is because the fact that there is attrition and you're also hiring for new salespeople, I'm sure you're using some platform for hiring. And whatever platform you're using, if there's just one thing you're going to do today, go back and look at that platform at the sales talent profiles you've used to hire new salespeople. And believe me, they've stagnated. Like, I don't know, maybe a decade ago. We're still talking about what's the business degree they have, what's the sales experience they have, what's their emotional intelligence. And we started doing that about 10 years ago. So I don't think we've changed our profiles for hiring in the past 10 years. And that to me is a big worry. We are not measuring leading indicators. We don't know how our top sellers became top sellers. It's going to take us 13 months to fill an empty position. And then we're going to use that same profile we've used for the past 10 years to hire. And what's your talent strategy? Because that to me is the red flag we are all struggling with right now. Now, all's not lost, right? This 25%, if you hired well, can actually help you transform the sales culture of your organization. Because you've got 25% new fresh blood coming in, and they can actually bring in a new thinking and a new paradigm. And we really need that new paradigm, right? Because think about what's happening to sales in our marketplaces. We've created a fundamental shift. We've gone from being product sales, which was like our past, I hope, to being solution or consultative selling, which is currently our present. But for sure, my future is not moving in the same pace now. There's artificial intelligence, there's digital technology, there are tools and enablers that are becoming available for my customer to make buying decisions, which means they are not going to buy the same way they bought yesterday or even today, right? Uh, which means my sales profile needs to change as well, right? So my sellers of the future need to be able to teach and provide perspective, because we are going to be more co-creating our conversations, and it is imperative that my sellers are able to do that. So the question then is, what does your next gen sales profile look like? What's the new DNA that you need to have in your sellers, right? And think about some of the things that are becoming important for us. I'm going to broadly talk across three categories. The first one being this whole need for us to have an outside in approach, which means, do you have the business and commercial acumen to understand your customer's business as well or even better than they understand it today, right? So because you're bringing a third party perspective to this, and you may be working with others in their industry as well, which means you have knowledge available to yourself, which if you translate it into this acumen could be really really powerful, right? But then, do my sellers have the ability to do that today? Second, project management. It is becoming imperative that we deliver and we succeed. And this is the responsibility of the seller. Um, I don't think our buyers have the tolerance of saying, oh, this is what my ops team will do or my service team will do. Today, they are holding the seller accountable. You sold it to me, you own it, right? Which means if you're not good at project management, how are we going to deliver that? The second piece around that is around having this laser sharp focus at what you do. So, couple of things become important there. One is system thinking, and this is becoming important because we are using technology, and technology is powering a lot of data coming our way. How do you make sense of that? Do you have the know-how, the ability to do that? And that's going to become important. And the other one is market segmentation, right? One thing that our buyers have learned is personalization, which means if you want to be everything to everyone, um, you're battling a lost battle, right? It is very important for you to identify what's your ideal customer profile and then be able to customize your conversations to that. And is that the ability your sellers have to do that in their territory, in their region, bringing their local cultural nuances in play? That's going to be important, right? And the third one is the eye for detail, analytical skills. For years and decades, and maybe more than decades, we've heard this thing about saying, oh, you have a gift of the gab, you're good at building relationships, you'll succeed in sales. Yeah, you may get into sales, but you will succeed is not a guarantee. The reason is the currency for relationship has changed big time, right? And today, what we really need our sellers to have is analytical thinking. Have a financial acumen to understand the financial elements of the conversations we are having. More and more, our buyers want us to show them a proof of ROI. You don't have the financial acumen, you're going to struggle with that. Nobody can give you an ROI calculator, though I know a lot of enablement teams try to build that. But if any of the sellers are listening to me, this is an ability you need to develop, right? So, as a sales leader, you should be looking at how good are your people across these three buckets: business commercial acumen, project management, or systems thinking, and market segmentation. The third one being analytical thinking and financial analysis and management, right? And if these are the abilities that we are looking for, how are these being reflected in my sales talent profiles that we are using to hire people? Also, our sales centric behavior needs to somewhere stand up in those profiles. So new things that we are seeing that were never important are becoming important today. Intellectual curiosity, the need to learn. Gone are the days where we went to school, learned everything we had to, and then went to work. Today we are learning every day. In fact, the question to you is, what's the new skill you learned in the past 3 months? Because if you did, you could be extinct tomorrow as well, right? And those are things we should be looking at. Our sellers' ability to join the dots, our sellers' ability to have business, financial conversations, our sellers' ability to have conversations with everybody, the lowest common denominator to the most senior level in the organization, because we're going to need that tomorrow, right? And those are some of the elements one should start looking at. And the opportunity is that 25% new sales team you will have, if you hire them right, in the next 3 years, 4 years, you will have a team that is ready for the future. Transformation is not a month or a quarter long journey that you will set yourself on. But talent is a very critical part of any sales transformation you're looking at. So look at what your talent strategy is today. And it should be driven by data science. It should be operated as a system, and it should be owned by a revenue leader. And I leave you with those thoughts as you think about your talent strategy. And I hope to catch you on the other side of this video over some of the social media platforms to continue this conversation. Have a good one, guys. Happy selling.